Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Smitty here. Hey, I still gotta say thank you all for the subscribers and for coming on board and reaching our first goal. So my next goal is tentatively like to see 10,000 by the end of next year. Whether or not that will happen is all up to you all. It's about hitting that like button, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing. Hey, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you might want to. I'll put a link down here. Well, I'll put it down here at the bottom of the screen. And check me out there because I post some stuff like what I do at work and you know, small little snippets and little stuff like that. Anyway, follow me there. Instagram, it's iRockinZ87. Anyway, today we're on part 2 of our good, bad, and ugly core teardown, and we're going to get into some nitty gritty of this. This thing is wild, guys. It really is. Apparently somebody was in this thing that didn't really have a clue what they were doing, or they half-assed might have. I don't know, but this is definitely a hacking butch. So let's get into it, shall we? Alright, so first things first. I took this pump apart already, and as you can see, it's got some pretty nasty scoring in it. I mean, you can feel that with your thumbnail. You can hear it too. Not a good thing. So that pump is destroyed. If you look at the bushing, get this in the light just right maybe, you can see that wear spot in it. That bushing, pump bushing, is just, it's done. You can see it's just bad. But here's the worst part. Look at the scoring in it. It looks like somebody took a whizzer wheel to this whole thing. A Roloc disc. I mean, look at the graining on it. I mean, it's terrible. Why would you do that? This is a machine fit item. I mean, you don't grind on this. I mean, the only way you do is you take it to a machinist that can refinish it. I mean, this thing is rough to the texture. I know you can't hear that, but I mean, it's bad. And then on top of that, look at this right here. Well, that's just grease. But somebody tried to modify this pump. Either that or it had a big piece of trash in there. But I don't think it is, because if you look at this other side, look here. Looks like somebody tried to chisel that opening out. And right there, that looks like tool marks to where they were trying to open that passage up. I mean, right here it's bad too. You know, I don't get their theory behind that. I mean, that's definitely looks like a grinder wheel was in there. Not a good thing at all. Let me get you another pump and I'll show you the difference. Alright, I got another pump here it came out of another 4L60E. Let me get this thing opened up here for you. And see, it's unmodified here. But what we're going to look at is the actual pump body with the stator shaft. Now look at this. I mean, although this one's scored here, Look at your openings here. See how that one's not, that one's actually machined that way. That one's got a little bit of a tool mark in it too. Look at the shininess between the two. See what I mean by this being a machine finish? Look at the finish on that. There, we'll turn them around the exact same way so you guys can realize it. Or look at those two. You can just, from visually, you can see the difference. Either way I look at it, I'm not going to use this one. There's just no way. This one's not really usable either. It's got some pretty good deep grooves. This is not a pump I'd use either. Now the stator shaft on this one is in a lot better shape, even though it's got some scoring on it too. It's got some wear on it, but this one's pretty bad right there. This bushing area. You know, the worst thing I could do is polish it up and see what happens, but I don't know. But being as that one's got that surface on here, there's no way I'd use this. This one, see how it reflects? That's what you want. But again, since this surface is damaged, the only way I could do is find a machinist that can clean that up. You press the stator shaft out of it and put it on their machine and they can resurface it. So, alright. Okay, next we have this input housing. Okay, I showed a little bit of this on the other. I showed a little bit this on the first video. That orifice right there is a bleed orifice for the 3/4 clutch. That is supposed to be there. Let me get. I'll show you on another shaft. All right. This is a 700 R4 shaft out of Scarlett. That's Scarlett's original transmission. There's your bleed orifice. When you air check these, they are supposed to have air escape there. That's how it bleeds the air out of the clutch. If that air is not there, if that is blocked off, it can't bleed the air out of it. So it can't fill the cylinder full of fluid. That's important. You don't block that off. Somebody thought different on this one. They blocked it off. I don't know that I can get that open back up. But let me go get some air set up so we can air check everything before I take it apart, because I want to show you another test here real quick. Alright, one of the tests that we're going to do is we need to test to make, you know, this, I already know this shaft is no good, or I'm not going to use this input housing just because I doubted I could knock that GB weld out of there, to be honest with you. I think it's probably in there good enough that it won't come out. I'll be damned. Look at there. It's still plugged in the hole, but the top piece of it came off. I mean, other than polishing the shaft, I'd probably reuse this one if that hole wasn't plugged up. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to put a little bit of transmission fluid down in that hole. Just enough to fill that cavity up, just like that. Alright. This bottom ring land here should be your 3/4. Your forward, and then your overruns at the top, I do believe. I'll show you here in just a second. But anyway, what you're looking for is when you test, find your hole here, you want to make sure, let's see it engaged, but see you don't see any air bubbles coming up that shaft. Now if you look over here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that little ball will go up and seat. But as long as you don't see any air bubbles around your shaft down here at the base, then that shaft is tight in there. And test your forward here, and it's tight. And when you test your overrun, which is, like I said, your top one, it's not uncommon to get bleed off there. And that's not uncommon. You're good. Just like that. And you're fine with that. But again, when you test your 3/4, if that hole wasn't plugged, you should get air out of it. Like I said, I don't know that I can knock it out, but you know that the inside of that, or that center of that shaft, is good in the splines. It's not leaking there. That's one thing nice about not having the vise tied down yet. That's about the only thing that's nice about it, because this may not work. It may be too heavy for the deal and still want to flip it off. We'll just use that reverse input housing for ballast. Alright, got bird's eye view. Let's check this one, which is your 3/4. And remember I said it was the bottom hole, and there it is. And you can tell that one's wore out. Your second one should be your forward clutch, and you can, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it applies. And then your bottom one, which you can't see because it's an overrun. So this is something else that I noticed too. Look at this snap ring. It just, I mean, you can spin that dude all the way around in there. That snap ring's wore out. It's either wore out or they got it in the wrong hole, which is possible. I think they actually did. I think this may be the, let me get it the rest of the way apart, but this may be the forward snap ring. Okay, first thing I noticed, the load springs are gone. These are supposed to have load springs in these holes to keep this clutch off. And it's also been grinding right here. Why that was grinding either is beyond me. It is a 6 clutch pack, but if you look at this thing, all the clutches are bowed from how hot they've been, and they're done. I mean, you can see that there's nothing left of them. They're just burnt up. All shiny. So that's done. And that was the right snap ring in the top, by the way. I have to get a bigger screwdriver for that one. Alright, this one's got the late model molded pistons, which it should. It's new enough. But there is a lot of wear. On this housing. Overrun clutches. And they actually don't look too bad. They still got material on them anyway. They don't look too shabby. Your Fords, all the materials wore off of them. There's hardly any line left in them, which means these clutches are pretty worn. Pretty much done. Steels don't look too bad. No hot spots in them, surprisingly enough. Ford Sprag, it's still working. See which one's in it. Get out of there. It's been replaced. It's got the steel sleeve in it, and this hub is in really good shape, believe it or not. There's no groove in it. The teeth look like they're in good shape. Plus it's got the additional oil holes for lubrication. Doesn't look like there's any spline damage. And it's got the, looks like it's got the good sprag in it. So let's count it and make sure. It should have the 29. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like 28 is what I counted. start right here at this groove. Yeah, it's got 29. So this has got the 29 element sprag in it. Let's pull this apart. Yeah, this has been replaced. I mean, this has got some staining there. It's got some staining on it, but other than that, it really looks pretty good. Teeth look good. That center hub looks really nice. So that sprag is technically reusable if we go that route. Alright, reverse input housing. Now it looks like somebody took a whizzer wheel to this thing, and you can tell the band was only wearing on the outside edges. My guess is probably that this dude is probably done. I had a ruler here. Yeah, that I don't even have to put a tape measure on or a light underneath this one. You can see that thing's bowed in the center. If I was to put a light behind it, I'd see light underneath of it. So the reverse input housing is done too. Not that that surprises me any. Okay, it does have the wave in, or the coned wave plate. Somebody put some decent clutches in these. This has got some decent ones in there. They're not burnt up, they're not hot. They're definitely worn though. But so that's done. Alright, let's get into this dude here. This is the reaction shaft. Look at how much that moves. You can hear it. Let's get this snap ring out of here. One of these days, if I can ever get enough money rounded up, I'm gonna get y'all a freaking point of view camera. That dude, wow. Yeah, this thing's done. Look at the gouges right there in the center that you can see. See how that top's rounded? The bottom, they come that way even from GM, but if you look at how much that's worn in there, that groove that it's got worn inside there. Yeah, this shaft is no good. Plus, if you look up here, right there, it's got a pretty good wear spot in it. and that's from that sun gear. This sun gear rides on here like that. You see it's a little wobbly in there also, but you can see it real good right there that that thing's worn out. No wear on this. This is hardened, so there's like no wear that's visible. I mean, we did get something good out of it. We got some 5-gear planets. And if you look at these teeth real close, just make sure that there's nothing falling out. Take and make sure they don't wobble. That one's good. Well, that about wraps it up for our donor. Got a lot of good usable parts. Got some that are just trashed. Some of the stuff is just normal wear items, but I mean, I don't know what their thought process was when whoever was in this rebuilt it, but I mean, there's a lot of no-nos you don't do in there. But anyway, we'll get parts rounded up for that. Next video I got for you, I'm going to tear down the one that we're going to actually use for Scarlet, and we'll get what's left of it apart, and I'll show you some things on it. So that being said, make sure to hit that like button. It's down over there with a little thumbs up. Hit that button. There's a subscribe button right next to it, big red button. Make sure to hit that. 95% of you that watch my videos don't subscribe. Maybe it's just I'm that boring. I don't know. Anyway, hey, I really appreciate y'all. I really do. So till next video, take care of yourself, take care of each other. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.